You know I like snack pack. Why can't you just give me a snack pack?
Don't you hate it when your favorite snack foods are discontinued? Just when you found your niche, they take it away, leaving you in the cold and left scrambling to find the next best thing. Here are the top 10 snacks that have returned.
Ben & Jerry's named a flavor after me, so...
Start craving hazelnuts.
Not bad.
Twinkies.
When you bite into a cream fill and shoot all in your mouth, glitter.
Twinkies used to be the proverbial all-American snack, a small cake-like roll that has been described as golden sponge cake with a creamy filling. Formerly made and distributed by Hostess Brands, Twinkies were invented in Illinois in 1930 by James Alexander Dewar, a baker for the Continental Baking Company, to maximize the full use of his bakery machines to increase production and profit. The original Twinkie was filled with banana cream, which he dubbed the Twinkie after a billboard sign in St. Louis advertising twinkle toe shoes. During World War II, because of rations and lack of bananas, they switched over to vanilla cream filling, which launched the Twinkie into stardom. The honeymoon lasted close to 80 years, and in 2012, Hostess Brands filed for bankruptcy protection.
Well, this Twinkie thing, it ain't over yet.
They stopped production of Twinkies for a 10-month period until they were bought over by Apollo Management in 2013. They eventually made a comeback in the U.S. on store shelves, but in a reduced format. Urban legend has it that due to the chemicals in Twinkies, they have an extra long shelf life and can last anywhere from 10 to 100 years. But we're not recommending actually testing this theory. French Toast Crunch.
French toast!
We all love to have the best of both worlds, so why not combine your two most favorite breakfast snacks in one with cereal and French toast? French Toast Crunch is best described as a crispy corn cereal resembling tiny pieces of toast sprinkled with maple sugar that taste syrupy. This cereal was launched in the mid-1990s by General Mills, a giant in breakfast cereals. What is very cool about this cereal is that it actually looks like real pieces of mini-sized slices of French toast.
This French toast is so good.
They lasted for about 10 years. Then General Mills discontinued French Toast Crunch in the United States. Meanwhile, French Toast Crunch was still being produced and marketed in Canada and Australia. However, consumers in the U.S. who craved the taste of this sweet cinnamon maple toast-shaped cereal had to live without for a while. Fed up with the situation, they took to Facebook and started a Bring Back French Toast Crunch campaign. Due to popular demand, General Mills reintroduced the product in 2014. They played on the nostalgia of the consumers who ate the cereal as kids in the 1990s. Thanks to a cult following, this cereal can be found again on the shelves in the cereal aisle, and a whole new generation can see what the fuss was about. Crispy M&Ms.
Crispy M&Ms are back.
Everyone knows that M&M chocolate candies were a copycat of the Smarties brand. Forrest Mars Sr., the eldest son of Frank C. Mars, the American business magnate who founded the food company Mars Incorporated, developed M&Ms after a fallout with his dad. So he started his own company making chocolates. He first got the idea in 1930, during the Spanish Civil War, when he saw soldiers eating British-made Smarties. In a partnership with Bruce Murray, they developed the M&M's brand. It was during this decade in which they came up with the famous tagline that they are so famously known for today: melts in your mouth, not in your hands.
I'll melt in your mouth. I'm sorry.
During the years to follow, M&M has been marketed in every color and permutation. In 1954, the peanut M&M version was introduced, but in an interesting twist, Forrest Mars was allergic to peanuts. Crispy M&Ms were introduced as a limited edition item. They were slightly larger than the milk chocolate variety and also featured a crispy wafer center. They were discontinued in the United States in 2005, much to the chagrin of many fans, even though they remained available in Europe and Southeast Asia. After a 10-year hiatus and much Facebook fanfare and complaints, they were brought back in the US in 2015. They are now available in Crunchy Espresso, Crunchy Raspberry, and Crunchy Mint as well. KFC Double Down.
Double Down.
The KFC Double Down sandwich is decadent, with its 2 pieces of fried chicken fillet doubling as bread filled with mounds of bacon, melted cheese, and barbecue sauce. Initially test marketed in certain parts of the US and Canada in 2010, it was originally offered for a limited time only. The sandwich was super popular, similar to present day's fad for the sold-out Popeyes fried chicken sandwich. Videos of people eating the Double Down became a YouTube sensation. Even Stephen Colbert jumped on the bandwagon and was featured eating one on The Colbert Report, spurring on the item's popularity even further. It was reported that on its launch date, it was sold out everywhere within hours.
What, did KFC go out of business?
Nonetheless, after all the hype, the Double Down was discontinued the same year as it was only intended to be a limited-time offer. But it was brought back immediately the same year because of its popularity. What the fuck? In Canada, it was a different story. After being discontinued, it returned in 2018 in a different version called the Waffle Double Down. This version of the Double Down featured a Belgian waffle between two seasoned chicken fillets and used a maple aioli sauce. It's delicious, but it's not the same. From its original launch date to present, the KFC Double Down has sold over 10 million sandwiches, equating to a total of about $50 million in revenue. In Canada, the Double Down became KFC's best-selling new menu item ever, selling over 350,000 units in less than 10 days. Cheez Balls.
Do you remember Planters Cheez Balls?
Made and sold by Planters, the famous peanut company, Cheez Balls quickly became the snack of the 80s and 90s and threw Cheetos for a loop. This snack was so much better than its counterpart. Perfect little balls of light and fluffy orange cheddar cheese puffs. They were so easy to pop in your mouth. Everyone remembers them with fond memories of their childhood. Cheez Balls went MIA in 2006 after the acquisition of Planters by Kraft Foods in 2000.
They were good chips!
Although there were many cheese ball brands on the market at the time, none compared to Cheez Balls specifically. That variety still maintains a cult following today. After 12 years of public outcry, they decided to bring back this favorite snack in 2018. Similar in look and taste, the only difference? A sticker that reads, "Back Again." Now this treat is available to a whole new generation and old-time fans for a limited time, or hopefully maybe forever. Who really knows? Planters Cheese Curls, the longer, skinnier version of Cheez Balls, also made a comeback as part of the revival. Chicken fries at Burger King.
French fries and I are pregnant, and we're having chicken fries.
Burger King chicken fries were first introduced in 2005. They are actually slender pieces of fried chicken that resemble fries and not actually made from spuds. Essentially a skinnier version of the chicken nugget, just shaped like a fry. The concept was intended for their larger male adult consumers. It was supposed to be made with higher quality ingredients. Also, the chicken fries were designed with specific packaging in mind that made them easier to handle and fit into car cup holders. The product was part of a series of product introductions designed to expand Burger King's menu with both a more sophisticated fare appealing to people on the go and aiming at the 24 to 36-year-old male market.
Mom, Dad, where did chicken fries come from?
The chicken fries did not really catch on, and they were discontinued in 2012, but continued to be sold in some markets, such as Italy. In 2014, thanks again to social media and its rampage of tweets and petitions, the fast food chain brought back the fries for a limited-time offer in North America, which eventually led to their permanent status on the menu in 2015 in over 30 countries globally. Burger King plans to keep the modified fries as a regular menu item. Surge and Crystal Pepsi.
What would you do for a Crystal Pepsi?
Surge, for those who have never tasted one, is a citrus-flavored soft drink introduced to the market in the 1990s by Coca-Cola to compete against Pepsi's Mountain Dew. Surge was advertised as having a more hardcore edge than its counterpart Mountain Dew. Coca-Cola was attempting to lure customers away from Pepsi. Originally launched in Norway as Urge in 1996, it was so popular that it was later released in the US as Surge. Surge. Because of low sales records, they discontinued the product in 2003 in most markets. However, popular fan bases such as Facebook's Surge movement led to Coca-Cola re-releasing the soft drink in 2014 for the U.S. market via Amazon. Surge was re-released in convenience stores in the eastern U.S. for good in 2015, and in 2018 it was also being sold at Burger King restaurants.
This Coke tastes like Pepsi.
Crystal Pepsi had the same fate. First sold in Europe in the early 1990s. The US and Canada got it from 1992 to 1994, with brief limited releases till the mid-2010s. Its market was sabotaged by competitor Coca-Cola in a kamikaze scheme, which ended its Tab Clear product and brought on Crystal Pepsi's death. In 2014, following a Facebook campaign by consumers, both Surge and Crystal Pepsi saw a resurgence in demand, leading to speculation they would return. In 2016, Pepsi announced its return, and it has been making the rounds subsequently every year since for a limited time. Doritos 3D. Doritos 3D was a line of puffed Doritos introduced in the 1990s. They had a puff of air inside them, making them more round than traditional Doritos. These now discontinued snacks have been described as Doritos meets Bugles. Flavors included jalapeno cheddar, nacho cheese, and zesty ranch. They also came in a mini version and were sold in plastic cylinders with a pop top, like Pringles. Fans loved them, and they had a real cult following.
Oh yeah. That bold.
As of 2019, the Doritos 3D line of puffed Doritos is still sold in Mexico. The 3D Doritos were discontinued sometime in the early 2000s, but were later modified and re-released as Doritos Jacked 3D in 2015. Doritos Jacked 3D are thick and raised and resemble triangle-shaped Funyuns. Although they do not appear on store shelves in the US and Canada, you can still get the regular Doritos 3D in Mexico. Wendy's Pretzel Bacon Cheeseburger.
We need pretzels. Repeat, pretzels.
In 2013, Wendy's introduced the Pretzel Bacon Cheeseburger, made with warm cheddar cheese sauce, thick sliced bacon, lettuce, tomatoes, red onion, and smoky honey mustard, all stuffed between a pretzel bun. Wendy's was counting on the pretzel bun to be the game changer, but it fell short of their goals. A year later, it was discontinued along with the Monterey Crispy Chicken Sandwich. Given its relatively short duration, it's most likely that Wendy's will bring it back at some point. Maybe not as a permanent menu item, but as a yearly limited offer. Wendy's replaced the popular pretzel bun for a new gourmet lineup, such as the Bacon Portobello Melt Burger. Wendy's never intended for the pretzel bun to last beyond a limited time. This is their business model. Wendy's constantly experiments to keep only profitable innovations on the menu. One man's failure is another man's gold, and Burger King has jumped on this bandwagon and beat Wendy's at their own game.
One man's misfortune is another man's fortune.
This year, Burger King unveiled their version of the Pretzel Bacon King sandwich, oddly similar to Wendy's version. The sandwich, which made its soft launch in some stores in September, features 2 quarter-pound savory flame-grilled beef patties, melted cheese, and crispy bacon, and is topped with mustard and creamy mayonnaise, all on a perfectly toasted pretzel bun. Delish. McRib Sandwich.
The McRib is back!
McDonald's McRib Sandwich is also another menu item that keeps making a yearly comeback. First introduced to the McDonald's menu from 1981 to 1985, this boneless pork barbecue sandwich was popular with some consumers. You either loved it or hated it. After poor sales, it was discontinued in North America, never to be seen again until 1989 to 2005. Meanwhile, it stayed on the menu in many countries except the US and Canada. In 2018, McDonald's announced that the McRib sandwich would officially be coming back for a limited run every year during the fall in most markets where it's sold. Although it is permanently on the menu at McDonald's restaurants in Germany and Luxembourg year-round, the elusive McDonald's sandwich is back for a limited time at more than 9,000 U.S. restaurants, so now is the time to sample your share before it disappears again for at least another year.
More snacks! More snacks!
Hungry for more? Just tap on that screen for more great videos. And if it's your first time here, show us some love and hit that subscribe button and ring that bell to join our notification squad.